Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of the Senstennial Podcast. Thanks for joining us. I'm Matt, that's Bennett, and we are here to talk about the oh so lowly Ottawa Senators. They had one win last week, and it was against our division rival, so that obviously started the week off with an exceptional start, beating the Montreal Canadiens 5-2, then falling to the New York Rangers 4-2, and then falling again to the St. Louis Blues 2-1. Bennett, why don't we start with the Montreal game and go from there?
Yeah, the win against Montreal was a good one. Obviously, putting up 5 goals against a Montreal team that obviously are our rivals, but also are sort of our direct rivals in the sense of we're probably going to be competing for the same playoff slot in our division, basically.
Yeah.
The more established teams like Tampa and Florida, you expect to make it, the Leafs as well. And like if there's, another team in the division that's going to be pushing, it's probably going to be the Habs. So getting that win was important. I thought the Senators played well. I thought we got good goaltending. I know that's something that we can touch on a little bit. But yeah, in general, I mean, it's hard to complain about that. And the nice thing about that game was that it being at the end of that long 7 game road trip, ensured that we took a winning record home with us. So we went 4 for 7 over the course of that trip. Um, and it does, I mean, we're going to get into the rest of the results from this past week, which were not as good, but it does sort of show that it's easy to kind of slice and dice the Sens record based on different, temporal delineations and say the team is good, the team is bad, the team is this, the team is that. Um, it's still, I mean, like we're still at the point in the season where 1 or 2 wins in a row, 1 or 2 losses in a row can cause like a big swing in the standings. Uh, so much as, we're sitting here offering our takes on how things are going, it's still somewhat early to be doing so just because there's still a lot of runway left to go. And, the standings are so volatile right now.
Yeah.
But certainly the win against Montreal, capping off that long road trip, coming home, the vibes were great to start to the week, although they did not stay that way.
No, and then we face the New York Rangers, and I mean, I always struggle when we play the Rangers because it means we're probably facing Igor Shesterkin. And of course, Igor Shesterkin was who he was. And he was very good against the Ottawa Senators. Um, and I didn't think the Sens played an extremely good game against the Rangers, obviously because they lost. But I don't think the Rangers are particularly very good. But they kind of stunted on us. JT Miller had 3 points, and we just couldn't do much of anything against them, and it showed. Our offense started to get, kind of stifled. Our power play, granted, we scored two goals on it, um, but I think obviously a story we're going to be talking about on this episode. But the PK continues to just be so bad. And uh, I'm not really sure what they need to do to kind of fix it, because they shift from the diamond to doing a square to doing I don't know who's in charge of the PK, but I think we need to have a conversation with them.
Isn't it Yale? Mike Yale?
Is it?
That's
Oh,
what I
well,
thought, yeah. Because I mean Alfie does the power play, right? So I would assume
yeah,
it's the other assistant that does the penalty kill. Or I mean maybe Travis Green takes that on himself. I'm not sure.
yeah. It's just not been very good. And then, I mean, we can talk about the St. Louis game because that was like we don't want to talk about moral victories because we were so far past those. But the Sens, you know, did everything in their absolute power to get everything past Joel Hofer. and he made 41 saves on 42 shots and had a 976 save percentage. He was incredible for them. Um, but the Sens just could not put much of anything together, and that was quite a frustrating game to watch.
Yeah, the St. Louis game was rough. I mean, obviously the big story that night was the power play opportunities that the Sens received. We had seven power plays. We scored one goal, which, you know, for all the power plays woes, you did mention that we scored two against New York. We have three power play goals in the last two games, which, feels weird to be pinpointing it as something that's letting us down. I mean, it's at a 22% clip right now, which is a hair above league average of 20%. But it sure doesn't feel that way watching it, man. I mean,
Yeah,
we generated shots, we got looks and opportunities, but it really the St. Louis game really hit home the type of profile of player that the Sens don't have. And it's that they don't have the power play trigger man, on the face-off dot, on the edge of the slot, wanting the puck on their stick to, one time at home. There isn't really anyone on the team that seems like they like or want to fill that role. I mean, that's the role that for, 8.5 weeks in like 2021, Josh Norris occupied
yeah.
before his season fell apart and his career as a senator essentially fell apart. It's the role that we traded for Alex DeBrincat to hope that he could fill. That also fell apart. But it's a big miss. I mean, Stützle, I mean, we've said it time and time again, his first instinct is always going to be to pass. He has a
Yeah.
great shot. We've seen him use it time and again. He's always going to want to look for the assist rather than the
It,
goal.
especially with Brady back.
Yeah, especially
Like
with Brady.
I saw a Reddit thread that was like, does Stützle just defer everything to Brady once he's back, like once he plays with him, and it's almost like Big Brother syndrome a little bit.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I do think that, well, we've said it many times on this show, the Senators have a lot of personal chemistry. The locker room dynamics are really great. Everyone is a team player, and we love that. But you feel like you do want someone in the organization on the coaching staff to tell some of these players it's okay to be selfish sometimes. And, if you get the puck on your stick and you have an angle, take the shot yourself. Like, don't try and set up a teammate. Don't try
Yeah.
and um, you know, search for the perfect play, the perfect whatever. It's like just get shots on net. And I mean, we the Sens put 42 shots up on the
Yeah.
Blues the other night. So obviously, to a certain extent, they were doing that. But I feel like a lot of those were low danger shots that, by the time that we passed it around so many times, it's someone on the edge of the face-off dot taking a shot or Sanderson from the point blasting one in. And, those are not the situations that lead to the highest amount of success. It's
Yeah.
when you see Timmy with the puck on his stick inside the face-off circle, you want him to take that shot. You don't want him
Yeah.
to pass. You
Yeah.
don't want him to carry it and, try and dish it to someone else. And certainly it's a problem for a lot of players on the team, and been a systematic problem for this team for a long time. But if it was an easy problem, someone would have already solved it. But certainly a starting point of just saying, listen, guys, like be a dog. Just like take
Yeah.
the shot yourself. Don't worry about trying to set up your guy. Just shoot it yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like I mean we've talked about it ad nauseum, but it feels like there aren't many like natural shooters on this team. And one of them that we have also talked about so much is Fabian Zetterlund. And it feels like for the longest time, the opportunities for him have not been there. But now he's playing on that first line with Stützle and Brady. And in the time that he has done that, he has 4 points in 5 games, which is great to see because I think he's finally getting like reaching that potential that we can expect of him.
Hmm.
But I also noticed that Zetterlund does not really get that much opportunity on the power play. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy's shot is so hard and so accurate. Why in God's name is Ridley Gregg on the power play? Because, like, let's be real, Ridley Gregg has not been good this season. I don't know
No.
what's going on with him, but he's not been good.
Hmm.
And I think when he's not playing the game of a pest and doing stuff like that, he's almost ineffective. And it's great that he's a center because with Pinto's injury, which happened against the Rangers, like it's a big spot to fill. And honestly, I'm not sure I would be filling it with Ridley. I think I would rather be filling it with Stephen Halliday.
Hmm.
I've really liked his game that he's been playing so far with the Sens. It's clear that he is an NHL player, and it's just whether or not he should be at center or at wing. I think long term as a senator, he has a lot of potential as a winger, but I mean, our center depth is a great asset for the team. And I just don't think Halliday has the opportunity to beat out one of Stützle, Cousins, or Pinto.
Hmm.
So I think the team has some options, but like going back to the original point of Stützle will always de facto pass it. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but I think there are times where it feels like he looks for the only opportunity to pass and he's got a yawning cage, or he's got the chance to get an incredibly high danger shot off and he just passes it off. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean it's been a problem on the team for a long time. I mean, this I mean, you can trace this back to, trading for Bobby Ryan. You can trace this back, to the fact that, we haven't had a legitimate sniper on the team arguably since Danny Heatley, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, like we wrote that blog post a few weeks ago talking about the Senators and their goal scoring woes at the time, which, some weeks they're hot, some weeks they're cold.
Yep.
But it is a larger problem of the team not doing a very good job of drafting, developing, acquiring,
Yeah.
or somehow coming into possession of, players with a dangerous shot who aren't afraid to use it and, are consistent enough to hit 30, 40 goals a season. I mean, Hoffman was like half of that player, but he, was often, you know, inconsistent and, he got a lot of looks on the power play, but wasn't super great at 5-on-5. Bobby Ryan,
Also just
obviously.
useless otherwise.
Yeah,
Like if he
yeah.
wasn't scoring goals, he couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, exactly. You're almost kind of like a Galchenyuk-esque kind of player.
Yeah.
Bobby Ryan, we're familiar with him and his kind of like tenure in Ottawa. It is a long-standing problem. And I do recognize that obviously this is a difficult hole to fill for many an organization, but certainly if the Senators have aspirations of being a year in, year out contender, they've got to find some way of getting a player like that onto the team. Um, and well, you can get a little bit of, relief from, the weeks where Stützle remembers that he can shoot the puck.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it's just really obvious that we just don't have a player like that. I mean, watching the power plays against St. Louis the other night, I mean, it's, you have two guys in the bumper positions on either side of the goal. you have Giroux or Stutzler down near the wall, like a little bit too far from the playoff circle, from the face-off circle to really be, in shooting range. And then you have Sanderson walking the blue line. It's like players aren't even putting themselves in positions to get a good shot if the puck came to them.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe that's a coaching thing. I don't know. Or if it's just we have a lot of players whose natural inclination is to cycle the puck on the power play instead of being the guy, but it
Yeah.
is a problem.
It's a huge problem. I think our power play is very stagnant. It doesn't move a ton. And it doesn't take as many opportunities as it should. I think you'll watch 4 or 5 passes between Sanderson and Stutzla or Sanderson and Batherson, like between the blue line and like the left side face-off dot.
Yeah.
And then it just gets back to Sanderson and he kind of puts one on net. And like I have no problem with point shots, but like just like have some purpose with it. And I
Mhm.
think at times it just doesn't feel like there is much of one.
Well, and it
Um,
puts like an unfair onus on Sanderson. I mean, if other players aren't getting a look, him taking the shot from the blue line is the right call in that
yeah,
situation.
yeah,
If the players that are closer to the slot aren't taking it on, he Sanderson is a smart player. He correctly realizes that the best thing he can do in that situation is throw the puck on net, hope for a lucky bounce, something that either goes in directly or gives up a juicy rebound that someone can tap home.
yeah,
So he's not wrong to be doing that, but it that being said, it is the area of the ice where statistically speaking you're like the least likely to score from.
yeah,
And again, like I don't think that that's Sanderson's fault. I think the onus is on the forwards who are being put in scoring positions and aren't doing anything with it.
yeah. And then, I mean, it feels like almost every couple of days you're seeing rumblings about, Ottawa is definitely looking for a top 6 forward or a top 9 forward. And, I'm all for that. I think the Sens do need to add, but I just like I liked the Fabian Zetterlund swing last year. It made a
Yeah.
ton of sense. You give up a second and a middling prospect, whereas I think like if you can go out and get a guy who has consistently put up goal scoring numbers somewhere, you absolutely do it because this team is just so gun shy of just shooting a goddamn puck when it when it matters, so to speak, that it's just frustrating. And you hope that with Brady back, he starts racking up some goals, but he had some really mediocre shots on net in the Rangers game that I know a lot of people like. He had a breakaway and he put it right into Shesterkin's pads, and it almost looked like it had no power whatsoever.
Hmm.
And it's like he's coming back from a hand injury, so it makes sense, but overall, it's such a like I feel almost lethargic with my Sens fandom right now. Like, yeah, we've only played 28 games. We're 3 points out of the wild card, but we're also seventh in the Atlantic. Or sorry, we're 3 points out of third place in the Atlantic, but we're in seventh right now.
Hmm.
The Leafs have just passed us. Everybody's been clowning on them for what feels like 2 months,
Hmm.
and they are now tied with us.
Hmm.
And also the Metro, the team in last place is Columbus, and they have 34 points, which would be second in the Atlantic.
Hmm.
So we are not going to squeak in on a wild card spot
No.
if the Metro keeps going like this. and the Atlantic keeps going like this.
Hmm.
The Sens need to play better hockey.
Hmm.
So who's going to do it?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, this is something that we touched on before we started recording, but goaltending has not really been the issue the last
No.
week or so.
Yep.
The two losses that the Sens earned this week, I don't think either of them are on Olmark.
No, Rangers was Marilinen, and
Yeah.
the first two goals were one was a 2-on-1. He had no chance on it, and the
Hmm.
other was a complete screen that he couldn't see at all. The
Hmm.
third goal, like I didn't love it.
Hmm.
And then they got an empty netter. Like,
Yeah.
but Allmark against the Blues was solid. Like he
Yeah.
had like three shots into the second period
Hmm.
and ended with a 900 save percentage on the night. So he
Yeah.
did his job.
He had that highlight reel goal save, which to be honest, in all my years of watching hockey, I don't think I've ever seen something quite like that before, where he was skating to the net to get the extra man on the ice,
Yeah.
and St. Louis got an early clear down our end, and he skated back and dove to knock the puck away from the empty net. That was really cool. I mean, it looked cool.
Yeah.
It
It's
was
a
making the
hero move.
rounds. It was a
I
hero
think the
move.
last time it happened was like Brian Miller, quite like
A
back when he
long
was
time ago.
playing, long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah.
Um, But you're right,
So,
absolutely. The goaltending hasn't been the problem, and I don't really think the defense has been that big of a problem, and we're still missing Chabot.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, listen, I had a dark thought just
all
now.
right, hit me
I had a
with it.
dark thought. We're doing this well without Chabot in the lineup.
Yeah,
And we desperately need a skilled forward, like a top six forward, ideally a winger who can score goals.
I'm tired, boss. Where's this going?
I it's we're paying $8 million an hour for a guy who's barely played this year. And don't get me wrong, like I love Thomas Chabot, like he's one of my favorite players. I have his jersey, I have his autograph.
He was one of your sons for a little bit
He
before
was
your
one of
actual son.
before my actual son arrived, he was one of my adopted sons. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, but arguably the need is greater on the front end right now. We have Sanderson, we have Zub, we have Spence, we have Yakemchuk coming up. Um, we have a lot of serviceable to good to fantastic defenders on the team. I do think that we are approaching a time where Shabbat is somewhat surplus to what the team needs, considering that, you know, the biggest need organizationally right now is a top six winger.
Huh. I mean, like I've definitely thought about it for sure. Um, And it's funny now because our right shot D are in plethora. We have two really good ones in Zub and Jordan Spence. Jensen is starting to round out and will inevitably become our solid third pair defenseman. The only issue is that like Tyler Clevin just isn't there yet.
Yeah.
Like his analytics are pretty rough. Um, but he has been improving. And I think obviously like he's been playing against players that are playing consistently against second pairings.
Hmm.
So it's an adjustment period. Do I think the Sens could trade Chabot for a top six forward, an impactful top six forward? Yeah. I think they like I think that would be something that if somebody approached them in a fair deal, you could see that.
Hmm.
I just don't know who's kind of out there that would do that
And
because,
part of the problem right now is with the cap going up, everyone's just re-signing
yeah,
where they are.
yeah,
So I think that the trade slash free agent market is going to be paper thin for at least a couple of years here because most guys right now are sticking with the teams that they're on and signing
yeah.
extensions and, you know, teams are spending their cap space that way, and guys aren't
Yeah.
really hitting the market, as it were. Um, which isn't to say that, there won't be other teams in Ottawa's situation that you might have a need in one area and they're already up against the cap and they really need to do something to shake things up. But I do think that it's going to be harder than usual to acquire the kind of player that the Senators need, which is already something that's hard to do to begin with. So
Yeah.
I think that is also, poured some cold water on some of our speculation here.
Yeah.
I think it does leave us with the not so great prospect that, the solution to the Senators' offensive lethargy is probably going to have to come from within. I don't think there's going to be
Absolutely.
a big sexy trade for, a 30 goal a year guy that we can staple on Stützle's wing and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Um, because I just don't think there are players like that out there right now that we could trade for. But you know, something has to give, right? And whether it's a coaching thing or whether it's discovering the inner fire among like a journey of self-discovery for the likes of Stutz and Batherson, say, to, just like learn to be the guy that just like shoots first and asks questions later.
Yeah. Honestly. Um, and the Sens don't have an easy week. They're playing the New Jersey Devils tomorrow, which it feels like a scheduled loss, to be honest with you. They then play the Blue Jackets on Thursday, which I think we have a good record against the Blue Jackets. I think that could be a win. And then they play the Minnesota Wild on Saturday in a matinee game against two of the best goalies in the league, in either Philip Gustafson or Jesper Wallstedt,
Yeah.
who, as we have probably talked about, this might be the
God, that
50th
is a
time he's
tandem.
mentioned. Yeah. One of them is a guy we had, and the other is a guy we could have had.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
In our defense, while Gustafson is on us, like that was obviously just like
yeah,
cutting bait on a guy way too early to sign an aging
yeah,
veteran who
yeah,
immediately shot to bed. I mean, just
yeah,
like a terrible move that, will not work out in your favor 90% of the time, and
yeah.
obviously it did not this time.
Pierre
Um,
Dorian Masterclass.
Pierre Dorian Masterclass. The Senators are not the only team that are kicking themselves for not taking Wallstedt.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
And I mean, obviously, hindsight is 2020. The Senators were really, really highly favored to take him in 2021, and they should have. But a lot of teams also passed on him,
Yeah,
and are also regretting it. So, well, obviously, I think we're sitting here saying, God, he could have played for us. I can't believe it. Like, what were we thinking? So are Edmonton. So are, you know, like the Red Wings. Like, they took the
yeah,
other guy, right? And who
yep.
has not, showed the
He's
same
not
kind
been
of.
him.
He's not been him. I can't even remember his name. Something was a C.
Sebastian Kosa.
Yeah, right. It's like they took Kosa instead of Wallstedt, and that didn't work out for them either. So,
Yeah,
so
I
it's like
think it
I give the
stings
Sen
more. Yeah,
I give the Senators a bit of grace for Wallstedt because lots of other teams are also kicking themselves for that. Uh Gustafson is on us though. That
yeah,
was just,
yeah.
the kind of trade that you just simply do not make. But
And
to answer your
Dorian had a couple
question,
of those.
to answer your question, which I don't think you had actually asked yet, but how do I think the Sens do this week? Not good is my bold prediction.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota, that's a tough game right now. They're one of the hottest teams in the league. Um, the Devils, also a strong team, although they're facing some injury troubles
yeah,
with some of their top guys. So I think the Sens are certainly in with a shout there. Uh, and against Columbus. So it's like I think two of those games are very winnable, but that's very different from will the Sens actually win them.
yeah.
And we're in a one for five stretch right now, um, which isn't great.
Yep,
And another couple of losses, and I think the alarm bells will start to ring a little bit.
yeah,
Um, I do think that the Sens, go 1 for 3 this week.
Yeah, it would be very nice if the Sens discover the heart of the cards, go Yugi Moto in the fourth, and pull out all five pieces of Exodia and really just go balls to the wall and go 3-0 because that would be very, very good for business. Um, but I think a 1-2 record is most likely this
Yeah.
week.
So here's the
Um,
question then. Um, of the 5 pieces of Exodia, who are the Senators players that correspond to each piece?
okay, I mean the head for me is Jake Sanderson.
Yeah.
The right arm is Tim Stützle. The left arm is Drake Batherson.
Hmm.
The left leg is Brady Tkachuk, and the right leg is Linus Allmark.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you there.
If all five of those guys heat up at the same time, it's over. Like the league is
Yeah.
on notice.
Yeah.
Um, but it feels like they can only ever get two, maybe three.
Yeah.
But Jake Sanderson right now is cooking, which is awesome. He is currently a top 10 defenseman in the league and will continue to be. But it would be really nice if everybody else on the Sens learned that they have the ability to achieve their dreams and become league superstars.
Yeah. Uh,
That's really it.
be the change you want to see in the power play. That's our motto heading into the
Oh my gosh. On that note, everybody, thank you so much for listening to the Senstennial Podcast. You can find all of our links just under me right here. And we post blog posts on Friday. We missed the last Friday because, well, Bennett is busy. I'm busy. And, we're a fan podcast. We are two fans. We don't make money off of this. We do it for the love of the game. The love of the game. And the Senators make it very difficult to love it. Just putting that out there. So, on that note, I hope you all have a great evening and or morning or rest of your day. Who knows when you're listening? But all I can say is go Sens go.
Go Sens go. Let's have a good week.
Let's play that hockey.
Let's play the hockey game.